Okay, Team Impact, we're going to get started here. Today's Thursday, September 25th. We warmed up with some absolute value and some integers. We're going to move on to the coordinate plane. I have a different handout. If you're absent, you're going to have to click in the folder and see under Thursday. You'll see this link to this page, graphing on the coordinate plane. So we're just going to do this. There's not going to be any homework. We have map testing today. So anyway, all right. So let's get started here. So we're going to talk about the coordinate plane, and the coordinate plane is this thing down here. We're going to define all of this stuff here in just a minute, but let's go through this real quick. -3 on the vertical line. Vertical, horizontal. So this is vertical, that is horizontal, right? So number -3 on that is the dump truck, and I'm just going to abbreviate DT. Okay. 4 on the horizontal number line is the balloon. The sailboat, all right, the sailboat, all right, I guess they want that on the horizontal line would be -2, right, -2, all right. The motorcycle, we're going to find that on the vertical line, and that's going to be 1, okay, so here's 0, there's 1. 5 on the vertical will be the helicopter, right? The helicopter, Helicopter. And then finally, the rocket ship is on the horizontal line. Here's 0, here's -4, here's -6, there's -5, right? So just identifying those. Okay, let's get some vocab in. All right, the coordinate plane is formed by 2 number lines. All right, a horizontal line called the x-axis, and a vertical line called the y-axis, okay? All right, these lines intersect at a point called the origin, which is located at 0 and 0, and I'll let you get caught up there. So when we talk about the coordinate plane, we have a lot of vocabulary here, okay? And we're going to slide down and see all of this very quickly. Okay. So first thing is this is the x-axis. The x-axis is horizontal, and the y-axis, and we'll label that, the y-axis is vertical, right? Now, the coordinate plane is broken down into 4 sections, and it's kind of weird because we go in counterclockwise order, and we call this quadrant 1. So this is 1. We call this quadrant 2, and we always use Roman numerals to define those. Okay, we're going to call this quadrant 3, and quadrant 3 in Roman numerals is 3 dashes. Now, if you know anything about Roman numerals, you'll know that quadrant 4 is written IV. So V is 5, 1 before it means to subtract. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, x and y axis. Now, up here they talked about this thing called the origin. The origin is this point right there, all right? And I'm going to draw a line over to it. And the origin, all right, and that is 0 and 0. Okay, now, what does this mean? These are called ordered pairs. And ordered pairs are always written in parentheses. X is always first, and Y is always second. So we're always going to go left and right, then up and down. Just to review, this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let me label these down here. This is X, this is Y, and that's your point of origin. Okay? All right. Good stuff so far. Let's flip it over and take a peek at it. Now, determine the ordered pairs for each point in the table, okay? All right, so we're going to find letter A, and letter A is right there. All right, so our ordered pairs are always in parentheses and are separated with a comma. So we always start from the origin, okay? And I'm going to go back, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to notice that that's a -3. So I'm going to write -3. So if I went back 3, and then I'm going to go up 1, 2, and 3. So that ordered pair is -3 and 3. That's how we define where that area is. Letter B, we're going to go over 3. This time it's a +3, and we're going to go down. We're going to go down 3, and that means it's a negative 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, this is in the fourth quadrant. All right, I'll do one more with you, and then you can finish them up. Pause the video. Letter C is 4, negative 2. 4, negative 2. Letter D is 1, 4. Letter E is negative 4, 4. Letter F. Now this is tricky because this is on the y-axis. So, all right, we don't go anywhere left and right, right? So the first one is 0. The first coordinate is 0. Now the second coordinate is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4. Okay? Letter G. We start at the origin. We go over 4 and up 2. That puts us in the first quadrant, right? Over 4 and up 2. And I forgot to do something on the front, and we're going to have to go back and go over that. Letter H. Letter H, origin, negative 4, negative 1. All right, so we have negative 4, negative 1, and I made a mistake there. Okay, and that's the third quadrant. Okay? Okay, so let's flip back over here, and I forgot to go over these, all right, these coordinates. Okay, and let's talk about the first quadrant. To get in the first quadrant, both ordered pairs, both numbers, all right, in the ordered pair, excuse me, is going to be positive, positive, positive. To get in the second quadrant, we're going to be a negative on the x one. The first number is always negative, and the second number is going to be positive. Okay? To get in the third one, we're going to be a negative and a negative, right? A negative and a negative, right? So negative 6, negative 5, right? Whatever it is. To get in the fourth quadrant, it's always going to be a positive and a negative, right? So if you look at these kind of correlate. These are both positive, these are both negative. This is a negative and a positive. Quadrant 4 is a positive and a negative, all right? So looking at all of those, all right? Okay, I'm going to flip back over, and we're going to finish up the back side. Okay, so number 2, we're going to plot some points, and we have to label these points by letters. Letter I is 2, negative 3. I'm going to put a check that I did that. Letter J is negative 5. We're going to go back, negative 5, and up 2. And let's put a J right there. Okay? And you can pause the video and do the rest if you want. Negative 4, negative 5. 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2 puts us on the y-axis, and that's letter L. Letter M is 3, negative 1. So that puts us right there, and that's going to be an M. 3, 2. That's letter N. 3, 2. Over 3, up 2. Letter O is negative 1, 4. And then finally, letter P is 5, 0. That puts us on the y-axis. Remember, this is X, the x-axis, and this is y. Okay? So check your work with mine, and we will continue on. All right, the last piece, number 3, is interesting. All right, it's interesting because we have to interpret some data here. It says the graph below shows several figures. Use the information to answer the conditions. X is less than 1, and Y is greater than negative 2. Okay, so what points are X is less than 1? So here's 1, right? Here's 1. All right, so X is going to be less than 1, and Y is going to be greater than negative 2. So let's start with letter A. It's less than 1, and it's greater than 2. That's a point. Let's start at the 0. Anything else less than 1? Yep, G, is it greater than 2? Yes. And guess what? So is D, because it's less than 1, negative 3, and it's greater than 2 as 3. So these 3 points, all right, make that rule. At approximately which points do the triangle and the circle intersect? Okay? So we have a couple ordered pairs. The first ordered pair is letter A, and it's going to be, doesn't go left and right, so the first one is 0, and then it's going to go down to negative 1. And then we have another point of intersection right there. So the second one is going to be negative 2 and negative 3. Okay? Letter C. Name the ordered pair that represents the center of the circle. So we have to kind of find that center, and I think it's about right there. So we need the ordered pair. Negative 2, negative 1. And then finally, point F. Point F, all right, the location in relationship to the origin. Here's the origin. 3, 2. Okay, 3, 2. Okay, so we're going to continue this tomorrow. We had short periods, and we warmed up with the absolute value and some integers and so on. So there is no homework, but con is due tomorrow. Have a good day, guys.